Guys, UK budget 2024 has just been announced. Major changes from UK property investors and employers generally, the economy generally. Let's get into it and let's show you how you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sales and still make profit in today's market. Guys, the major thing that's come out of this budget 2024, the first Labour government, the first Labour budget in a lot of years, is for property investors like myself. Additional stamp duty rate has increased 2% from 3% to 5%. Now, it sounds like a very small increase, but most houses clients are buying at over 100k, and even on 100k, it's still gonna increase it 2k. I'm in the middle of buying a HMO for 235k, and it's increased it by over £4,000. Am I still buying it? Yes. I'll explain why now. Guys, it's clear the government doesn't want amateur landlords in the market anymore. You've got to think very clearly now. Any amateur landlord who used to have one or two properties, or maybe put away a bit for a pension and was just, oh, I've only got one property, I'm a landlord but I don't take it seriously, all of that's gone. You've got to go hard or go home now. You've got to be a limited company. As I said in the last video, this is a professional environment and they want corporate landlords. Okay, why? Got to think very clearly. So an armchair landlord now has got to spend on a 100k house or on a 200k house over 5k in stamp duty on a 100k house. Okay, that's straight to the government. You can't borrow against it. It doesn't increase your profits from rental, and it's starting to look less and less attractive, especially with other things. You know, your increased legislation, your abolition of Section 21, your increase of renters' rights, you can't get the house back very easily, is putting people off, and this is what they want, guys. And soon enough, like I've said in previous videos, investment in UK property will be in the hands of the few, not the many. It already is in the hands of the few, but it'll be even less so. And what you'll have is big companies, your hedge funds, your portfolio landlords will be the ones dictating the market. The renters market as other places in Europe. There won't be as much home ownership, and I'll go into that in my second point about employers' national insurance contributions. But basically, they'll be setting the rents. Home ownership will be the scarce resource, and owning more than one home certainly be a scarce resource. And what happens when there's a scarce resource? Prices and demand always rise. So there's going to be less competition for traders, for landlords, serious landlords like myself, because it's separating, and now you can see the serious players emerging, and the ones who want to exit are already exiting, and I suspect they'll be exiting more. Why also will they be exiting more? Capital gains tax has not increased on personal name properties. So if you want to sell and get out of the market, the government's not going to penalise you. They're actually saying, you know what, we won't put the tax up. And a lot of people have said, and a lot of other commentators have said, the government bottled it on that. They put out some feelers and they decided that the feedback was too much. People going, oh, I'm going to move to Dubai, etc. So they reined it back in and said, you know what, we won't raise capital gains on property. No, it's not because of that. In my opinion, and I'm usually right in these situations, and I've called this for a long time, they want people to exit the market. Hence why capital gains tax is increased for shares, it's increased for other assets, but not for property. Why else would they do that, guys? Why have they gone, we won't increase it for properties? They're hitting landlords so many places, legislation, additional rates here, landlord licensing schemes, joining property ombudsman, but they're saying there's no capital gains tax increases. Why? Because they want people to exit. Okay, it's clear what they want to happen. You can't fight the wind. As I said previously, if you now are building up as a landlord, you've got less competition. Yes, you're going to have to pay 2% more, 5% effective rate on stamp duty, additional stamp duty. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt me paying an extra 4k on my purchases already negotiated. But guys, bear in mind it comes in tomorrow, right? It comes in tomorrow midnight, as it usually does. So there's no way out of it. You can chip the prices down. We'll probably have to do that. And the fact is there's less landlords buying now, as I just said, so they probably will sell to us. I already got 5k off last week of a house in Greater Manchester, already a HMO. So imagine, guys, that's in Manchester where really it's a prime market. I've got 5k off because you can only sell that house. You can only sell a HMO to another landlord. You're not going to sell it to a first time buyer because they're not going to do all the changes. So there's actually less competition. It's actually better for us. There's going to be less landlords, more demand for our rooms, higher rents. As I said, assets in the hands of the few forces the prices up. Okay, so stamp duty increases, capital gains tax, no increases. I suspect a lot of landlords are fed up anyway. They don't want to set up a limited company for 2 houses. They don't want to deal with not getting the property back if they want to sell in a couple of years and take advantage of this, because this might not be the same. They said in the budget, which a lot of commentators have missed, this is a 1-year budget, guys, so this could change. This could be the chance where a lot of landlords go, I'm going to exit the market now, and then obviously because next year this might go up. So don't be surprised to see a flood of properties on the market in terms of ex-landlords. Now, another good thing, a lot of clients come to me, they'll buy a property and then they'll flip it onto a residential buyer, first-time buyer. It's a prime market. Well, it's actually good news-ish for that, because for the first-time buyer, they're getting the minimum wages and all wages are rising. It's an inflationary environment. But also, this stamp duty doesn't apply. And so it's business as usual for first-time buyers, and now interest rates are coming down, sales are going up. So for the trader, yes, they're going to have to pay, or we're going to have to pay an extra 2% on the additional rate of stamp duty, but we're not competing with other property investors for the same property, where, as you and I know, we'd probably pay more than 2k in competition, because they'd go, oh, we'll give you 135, and I'd come in and go, I'll give you 140, that's 5k, right? So there's going to be less of that, because there's going to be less landlords doing it, less people flipping, less amateur flippers watching Homes and Hammer going, I can do it myself. As I said, they're going to have to think very hard now, because they're going to have to put effectively 5% additional stamp duty, because let's be honest, they're not going to do a flip if they don't already own their own home, kind of thing. So that's the way I see it. As I said, guys, a smooth sea never made a good sailor. I've been doing property for 14 years. I've sat through that many budgets. They've never been favourable for landlords. No budget has ever gone, this is a tax break for landlords, but yet we're still thriving. It really does make you, if you've operated from 2008, 2009, it really does make you a skilled sailor to go through all of this and to already predict the market. I'm still buying. Yes, I'm not buying for fun anymore like I was doing last year, but I'm still buying. I'm still buying HMOs relatively fast and sticking to HMOs, because I know the room rates are going up, rentals going up anyway. Room rates will be following. Where we get in 750, we'll get £1,000 soon, and the returns are amazing. As I said, then there'll be a hedge funds ploughing money in and other investments which they want, and it will only push the price of the assets up well above inflation. So, as I said, landlords have never done bad under Labour government, because it tends to be an inflationary environment, and all this additional tax revenue they're raising will increase inflation. And what happens in inflation? Property prices outpace inflation, but they will rise as well. Okay, a rising tide lifts all ships, including property. So that's the way I see it, guys. No need to panic. As Warren Buffett said, as he said, be greedy only when others are fearful. There's a lot of fear in the market, guys. I don't blame landlords for exiting. If I was 50 years old, I would probably look to exit now, because the headache of dealing with all these additional schemes and such, if you're used to being a landlord 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where you had none of this, why? You've made your money, cash out, and obviously let the newer landlords deal with that. If you're a new landlord, you're one of my clients, or you're a new landlord building your portfolio, you need to be smart now. Not relying on estate agents. Their fees are probably going to go up because wages are going up. Okay, minimum wage is going up, and employer national contributions going up. Outsource, outsource, outsource. Maximum rents. Better tenant choice. So you're going to have loads of choice. Don't pick the easiest tenant, pick the best tenants. You know, as I've said in previous videos, try and get guarantors, try and get the maximum rent, push the market, because you can now. Okay, don't be fearful. Yes, you're spending an extra couple of grand on stamp duty, but holding an asset for 10 years, from 20 to 30, when you're 21, I've got clients, to 31, you're not even going to notice an extra 3k, because by the time you've got your 10 properties and your 31 or 20 properties are going to be so hard to buy, so expensive, and you're going to see the amount of respect you're going to have for owning that amount of properties, because it's going to be unheard of. There's loads of portfolio landlords now who've got 50 properties, because they bought in 2008. There was a mortgage company called Mortgage Express. You could literally get a day one remortgage on a credit card. Those landlords are selling. They've been selling for years. They're selling even faster now. Now it's going back to you're lucky to have 1 or 2 properties. The average first-time buyers are well into the mid-30s. So if one of my clients at 21 has 10 properties or 20 properties in 10 years' time, he will be among the few. And the power that comes with that is immense, and the financial security and stability is immense. I'm just reading an article here on an economic website, and it says, given the upward trend in property and rental prices this year, plus the recent drop in inflation and interest rates. Remember, interest rates is a gravity on asset prices. When interest rates come down, asset prices go up. We should start to see greater growth and momentum within the UK property market, even if buy-to-let faces challenges. Even if. So what it's saying basically there is, the buy-to-let market is in turmoil. It's facing challenges, even more so from this budget, even more so from the Labour reforms of the renters' rights and etc. But challenges create opportunities. Challenges create wealth. If this was an easy market and there was no challenges, there would be no money to be made because everyone would be a landlord. Okay, and everyone used to, in 5-7 years ago, everyone used to have a second house rented out. My neighbour there next door, doesn't do property, so he's got a house rented out. You see what I mean? They're selling up. It's additional landlords who are not professional. So guys, less competition is better for us. Don't be scared. Take advantage. As Warren Buffett said, I'm actually really looking forward to the next couple of years, just because, as I said, I'm more than likely going to make more money. Yes, I'm going to spend more on the front end, a couple of thousand a year, 4,000 there. But I know for a fact there's less competition. I'm going to control even more of the market rents and etc. You guys who are doing property flips, also less competition. Yes, pay the extra stamp duty and whatnot, but you're going to get it back when you sell it to first-time buyers. Guys, this Labour government is meant to help the working person. It actually doesn't. The unintended or intended is a debate. I think it's intended, but the unintended or intended consequences, every action has got an opposite and equal reaction, is that rents are going to go up and asset prices are going to go up, putting property ownership out of reach of the ordinary. As I said, if you want to be extraordinary, if you want extraordinary returns, you've got to take action now. You've got to get on board. You've got to know what you're doing. Get on board. Click the link in the description for our free property investment guide. Learn how to buy properties below market value, take maximum advantage and secure your future, guys. Because one thing I can tell you, it's not going to be easy to make money from jobs anymore. A lot of this stuff is going to be outsourced to AI. A lot of jobs are going to go abroad. They already are going abroad. A lot of businesses are going to start basing themselves abroad. Any business that doesn't have to be here now is probably going to base themselves in Dubai. There's better talent, UK talent in Dubai. There's lower rates, there's lower taxes. Why wouldn't you? And it's a better environment, and who wants to be stuck here? UK property investors, you have to have your assets here. Obviously, it's UK property. But, as I said, take advantage of this. Strengthen your business, grow your portfolio. Don't be scared of spending a few thousand up front. You're going to get more and more of it back. Guys, another stealth tax is inheritance tax thresholds are frozen until 2030. What does that mean? That means they anticipate they're going to raise a lot of funds from this because they anticipate property prices to 2030 increasing a lot. So all they've done is frozen the thresholds. So £1 million in 2030 won't buy you £1 million today, and the average house that's, I don't know, 800,000 will be £1 million in 2030, if not more. So they're raising tax by freezing the threshold, which every economic commentator knows about. Now, that's a clear indication of an inflationary environment predicted and encouraged by Labour and kind of engineered by Labour. So that is a clear indication that property prices and inflation will rise by 2030 by freezing the threshold, but saying they're going to raise tax from that. Okay. Now, we buy properties in limited companies where you can give the shareholdings to your children. So when you come to exit the business and the shares can be passed on, not the properties, and that bypasses to an extent inheritance tax thresholds. So if you want your child to be a shareholder, minority shareholder, they can be from day one, and then there's no inheritance tax. Guys, we've been doing this for clients for years. Okay, I just thought I'd mention it. Okay, and guys, another 2 really important side notes from this budget. There's an investment of £5 billion in housing, which will increase affordable homes to a budget of £3.1 billion. Guys, this is a side note. This is a side note because it's very much a drop in the water. There's a chronic shortage of housing in the UK market, and this 5 billion extra will not meet the requirements. We see it all the time. It's even going to get worse. The demands for our room, there's 20 people chasing one room wherever you are in the country, but more so up in the northwest as well. And this won't make an impact. And even if it makes the smallest impact, we're talking about years and years to unlock new house building in somewhere. You can't buy massive sites in Manchester City Centre, Northwest City Centre. It's always on the outskirts. So guys, make sure you buy near the amenities, the hospitals where people work, because they won't have the money to travel in, especially on this budget where they're clobbering people with taxes and increases in terms of rental, which is inevitably going to happen. The other thing is the right to buy discount on people buying the council properties will fall, and councils will be allowed to keep the full amount from sales. Guys, they don't want you to win. They're literally saying, we're not going to give you a discount now buying your own council house. What did I say in this video and in previous videos? They don't want home ownership. It's not seen as an aspirational goal by a Labour communist to its core and its roots government. They don't like asset ownership. Last week they said people who own assets are not working people. They want you to work but not own assets. That's another clear indication. Guys, if you want to be financially secure, better off, able to travel, make sure you own assets, okay? And once you own assets, once this government changes, you'll be rewarded from it financially and to a lesser extent by society. But who cares what society thinks? You go and buy them assets and you secure yourself and your family's future. Let's get it.